Hi friends, welcome to another card video. Today I'm going to be showing a watercolor card using the Maybelle's stamp set. I illustrated this set for Unity Stamp Company as part of my Birth Flower series for the May month. It's quite a long stamp and it works perfectly for a mini slimline card. So I'm using these dies by Gina Marie Designs to die cut a piece of Canson Excel watercolor paper. I'm using washi tape to secure the watercolor paper onto my MISTI and using VersaFine Clear ink to stamp. Before I stamp directly on my watercolor paper, I do it with a piece of transparency or packaging on top so I can check the positioning of my stamp. And then I go ahead to stamp the actual image. I do make sure to treat my surface with some anti-static powder before stamping finally because I want to emboss it using clear embossing powder. This is my favorite trick for easy watercoloring, and I do this a lot, but I want to make quick watercolored cards and I don't want to worry too much about going outside the lines. The embossing creates these little walls which kind of keep your paint where you want it to be. Moving on to my watercoloring, I'm just swatching out a couple of colors here. So the Vivia color sheets actually comes with a couple of different greens. One of them is called light green and the other is called sap green. So the first green you see there is the sap green, and then the brighter greenish yellow that you see is called light green. And then I tried mixing the two to kind of see what the mixed shade looks like. So I add these different colors and mix and match them to see what kind of greens I can create and decide what I'm going to use where. So I chose the light green as my background. So that's going to be the green that I use all around my actual image. And then I'm going to use a mix of sap green and that peacock blue to create a more deeper shade of green, which I'll be using for the leaves itself. As for the flowers, I decided to leave them white, so I will not be painting them for the most part, but towards the end I just add a little bit of shadows just so it doesn't look stark white and looks a little bit more natural. One tip for me, from me, is when I'm watercoloring florals for my cards, I actually do not try to portray realism. I don't try to make my flowers very realistic. I actually go for more drama. So the more drama, the more fun going on in there. I think that makes the card more attractive. So yeah, that's just a tip. I mean, if you're struggling and if you think your cards aren't turning out great, I think you need to just let go of trying to get to that point where your cards look realistic and just enjoy the process and have fun. All right, I'm going to just turn on some music now so you can watch the rest of the painting in peace. And I will catch you again at the end of my painting to walk you through the rest of my process. All right, so now I'm almost at the end of my painting process. I'm kind of getting done with the little details on the stem. And you can see the way I'm painting the flowers here. I'm just using a little bit of that really diluted light residue of paint on my glass mat to add a very, very light dash of color. And then I use a clean water brush to kind of just mix it out, blend it out, and make sure there's no harsh lines or strong colored spots there, making my white flowers look muddy or green. So I get done with this process and then I use the dark blue to color in my bow. Once I'm done with the bow, I move on to add some splatters. So I bring in my splatter box and use the leftover blue paint to add splatters. Now you'll see here that the splatters on the lower half are nice and crisp, whereas the ones on the top kind of get blurry. That's because a part of my background hasn't dried, so that kind of causes those blooms to form. It's totally fine. It's personal preference. I just embrace it for what it is. In fact, I go back and then blend out some of the paint on the lower side, um, and kind of make that also look a little bit like blooms. So it kind of has that balance and not looking weird or like I made some kind of mistake. So there you go. I mean, almost a mistake, but an easy fix. So I just go back and splatter some more. So I have that same, bloom look both on top and the bottom of the flower. Next, I grabbed Before My Friend's Sentiment from the May kit of the month and stamp and heat emboss it using the same clear embossing powder. Once I'm done with that, I go ahead and grab some fun foam and use liquid adhesive to add that to the back of my panel. I use a craft card base. This is Nina Desert Storm, and it's trimmed down to 6 1/4 by 6 1/2. So when I fold it, the card comes to 3 1/4 by 6 1/4 inch. This completes my card for today. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also do hit that bell icon so you get notified every time I post a video. Thanks again and have a blessed day.